I feel like this thing takes like a good half hour to get.
I know. A half hour and 2 days. 48 and a half hours, and we finally made it happen.
Yay, we're here.
You did it, Brittany.
We're live.
Sweet. Thank you so much for hooking it all up. Yeah.
So you were talking about chiropractor or something, or physical therapy?
I did. I just went to a physical therapist friend of mine who is also a yogi, and she's just like amazing. So it was really thoughtful physical therapy, and it wasn't for anything like that happened, you know, like I didn't have an accident per se or anything like that, but I'm gonna end up with a mustache.
Are you messing with it? Do not touch any buttons. I can hardly see. This video is so small, but it's okay. We'll work with it. We're both newbies here if anyone gets on this, so we apologize. Yeah. Beginner's luck.
I love pressing the buttons, and then eventually you end up with a mustache.
Oh, that's hilarious. I've done that too before. Actually, my very first time, like years ago, I had a mustache and the whole thing, so I get it. And it was at an open house, so I was in somebody's house. But yeah.
Oh, here's my professional realtor.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. That's right. That's my kind of realtor. That's what I
We're
like.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you gotta merge work and play. I mean, I think that's a big theme, you know, as we go through life. And it's not to say that you have to have like your profession has to be your hobby, but you have to make time for both of those things. So
I learned that the hard way.
Right? Yeah. Yep. So you're not doing real estate at all anymore, or just
I still do real estate. Okay. So if you're watching this, don't worry, I still do it. I get a lot. I've been getting people asking me that. I definitely still have that door open. But you know what's fun about the Akashic Records? This is where my two worlds collide. So some of you guys know I'm reading the Akashic Records, and we can kind of go over what that is. Yeah. And not only am I reading for people, for the Akashic Records, you can read for people, pets, and places. So like if someone's looking for a house, I could literally read the energy and see what it has to tell you.
Wow. So like is it your house kind of thing?
Kinda. What's interesting about it is like there's only so much information it'll kind of give you about a place, but it's what you need to know in that moment is what I've learned. So I did one recently, and it was more about like, it was interesting. I actually saw a lot of portals inside this particular place. And I can't really go into details because technically you're not really supposed to go into details of but it was very interesting because that was like the biggest thing they wanted me to show them was these portals. So.
Wow. I wish I could have you come to my house. I have an older house. It was built in 1906. And there were additions put on and everything. But there are major portals in this house. Like, I've heard parties going on.
Oh my gosh, I've heard stuff too. And this where I'm at right now, like I hear music like all the time. Like, do you hear that? But it's like ever so slight sometimes. Yeah, it's really weird. But I can read it. Guess the fun part is I can read it without being there. Like for you, when I read your records, we just did it over Zoom. So I was actually reading for someone else, and she asked about moving and stuff. And I was like, I'm actually getting told to just open the records for this particular location. So that's what I ended up doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so we're talking about it like you remember when I asked the question. So like, what are you talking about? Like, what are the
what's the Akashic Records?
Akashic Records. I love the way you put it. So
it's like you could think of like a metaphysical spiritual library, and you go there and it's like your entire soul's journey. So you can like pull all kinds of information from like other lifetimes and like how it's affecting you in your current life. And I honestly feel like because the Akashic Records are in the quantum field, which can be hard for a lot of people to understand when we're here on Earth because everything's linear and like we've got time and all of that, but in the Akashic Records there's no such thing as time. So a lot of times I'm pulling on energy that when I'm healing you in your present moment is also healing other aspects of other lifetimes. And so people usually
because it's all happening at once.
Exactly. And people don't realize that, but they feel such a shift after. And some people get really tired after because of all the energy that gets moved around, but so far it's been really a fun experience. I get a lot of messages in there that are visual, so sometimes it feels like charades. So I'm like, okay, so what does this visual mean?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I think it's just cool to be like, for you to be willing to look there, you know, because
Yeah.
it's so much easier to just look in the material world. But that's never where the answers are, you know, because this stuff is all empty, essentially.
Yes,
Where the
trust me.
akashic records are full, but they're
Mhm.
full of like, you know, it's like potential and space and
Yep.
yeah, these records are like, they're kept in a way that there is a filing system, but it's,
Yeah.
you know, it isn't like Harry Potter or something. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
it's actually kind of funny. Yeah. There's technically
yeah.
like gatekeepers, and I'm literally just a conduit between the records and the gatekeepers and you. So I'm not like, I'm always like, don't shoot the messenger. I'm literally just pulling what's up there, but there's literally gatekeepers. And I do like to say it's like your emotion, every emotion or thought or vibration, if your mind can wrap your head around that, is stored there. So
Yeah. You
lots
know,
to
in
uncover.
yoga, we talk about akasha. Akasha, the word is like, I'll say like space, basically.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Like it's, yeah, it's like,
yeah,
like it's like the ethers, like it's written in, you know,
I was
an
actually,
ethereal realm, right?
I was actually just reading this book called Soul Integration by Sal Rochelle. And I was always familiar that there's multiple dimensions and like the astral plane, but he literally pointed out exactly where the Akashic records are held, and it's called the causal plane, and it's right above the astral plane.
Wait, is it casual or causal?
Oh, it might be causal.
Yeah,
I might be pronouncing it wrong. Yeah,
I
causal.
like casual.
Yeah, I was like casual plane.
Yeah, it was totally chill there.
Yeah,
Like,
that's literally what I was thinking too when I read it. I was like, oh, casual, so cash.
It's like a Freudian thing. I totally get that. Actually, you know what, it's
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I love you. Because I saw the word causal for like 10 years. It was like, you know, one of those things where I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to ask. Like, it seems like everybody knows. It's like now I'm more brave and like I would ask, like, what are you talking about? What's Akashic records? But like, what is the causal realm? Like, what even, you know, because you will see that in spiritual books and diagrams, and it's like there's like the collective soul and the causal soul and the you know, with like the, you know, all the different kinds of bodies of information that we can access. But it's like, how do you define that? Like, how do you define
my
it?
understanding is like we started off from the God source, and our soul we wanted to keep experiencing these other realms. We kept going down and down and down to experience what we're in now, a duality and all of the things. But my understanding of that causal realm, and they actually call it the original cause, is this effect from us going from one dimension to another. They say it's like intense contractions, which is ironic because think about when you're in labor, like, and you're giving birth, it's intense contractions. But the best way they could describe it was like your body like squeezing into a nut. Like that's how intense it was, and that reaction and that feeling and like the shift of energy was so intense for people that they're still living that out in this dimension right now.
Yes.
So, and it's like traumatic. It's traumatic, just like birth is traumatic.
It is, because there's like a cinching or like a squeezing that has to go on, or I want to say, you're right, it's like a contraction or a constriction. That's what I want to say.
That was another thing, is like the constriction and like the limitation that came with it is like it's hard on a soul level to like comprehend. You're like, wait a minute, I came where I was so free and I got to do this, that, and the other. And now I have these restrictions.
Which is why so many people just stay in the physical realm, and they're just like, I'm just going to look around and like, you know, this is a thing and that is a thing and this is what's happening and that is what's happening. And it's like, no, it's really not, but it's really hard. And, you know, to put yourself through that sort of like, that process of like turning lead into gold, or turning dirt into a pearl, or turning, you know, mud into a lotus kind of thing.
Diamonds. is what pull. Yeah, exactly.
You gotta really want it. Yeah. And like, it's okay if you don't want it. You just, you know, this time around you'll do whatever. But it's really like, this is so incredible that you're talking about this, because like, I just have this diagram in my head that I was shown so many years ago, and I've looked at so many times, and like, I filed it away in my head, like, okay, I get what the causal field is. Like, I get it. Like, okay, there's the physical realm, and there's the cosmic realm, and there's the psychological realm, and there's the emotional realm, and there's, you know, and I just kind of filed causal away. Like we don't use that word.
We don't. I just learned about it literally the other day when I was reading this book. I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense. And it also makes sense why certain information I was pulling from the records was coming up. It was all correlated to that. Yeah. So
do you think, like, now I'm really thinking about this. This is crazy. Do you think it's causal? Like, why is it called? Is it causal in the sense that, like, cause and effect? Like, this is the karmic field. Like, this is where, like, the causes of what we're. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. I'll have to look into that more. I just started this book. I recommend it to everyone because my mind is just like going.
Tell me what it is again.
It's called Soul Integration by Sal Rochelle, and last name is like Rachel, but with an E at the end. And you can get it like, I can't find a hard copy anywhere, so I just downloaded it from like I don't even have a Kindle, but I guess like on Amazon, if you buy whatever it's like an ebook, where you can just access it anywhere.
Hold on 1 second. Like, I'm kind of creeping out right now. I got it. Okay. All right. I was freaking out because we've been talking about some.
I just got a massive pain right here too, which is
or someone behind me or something.
Okay, it's really weird that you say that because was that a ball?
My child apparently got a balloon into the house somehow, and it was funny. Like the like heater was like it was stuck to the heater, and it was just like.
Oh my gosh.
Whole time I've just been hearing this like drumming. So
that's hilarious. At the same time you did that, I had like a massive, like, I don't know what it was, but like pain right in my head. So that was weird. I always like to note stuff like that. But introduce yourself real quick, because I don't know. I mean, we can post this on your stuff too, but I don't know if my people know. I mean, I posted a little bit, but introduce yourself.
Yeah. I mean, funny because, like, you know, like we said, all the timelines are happening at once, and all of these realms that we're talking about, from physical to akashic, they're all existing at once as well.
I know.
So like, here's the thing, that was just a balloon tapping, you know, my shoulder essentially. Like I could just hear that the whole time we were talking, and so like I could just like file that away, you know, like that's all that was. But it really is something else, you know. It's really like it's a metaphor. Everything's a symbol when you start.
I see that too, yeah. Especially if you start like paying attention. I really want to start teaching a course on how to reawaken or remember your intuition, because we have it. We're just not like, we're literally not consciously aware of it. And this is a funny story. I, until recently, didn't consider myself an empath because that's how much I turned off like all the feelings.
Oh my God, you're beyond you're like beyond an empath.
I know. That's what's so funny is like I'm like all day I'm like, oh, I feel this, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling this, and that helps
intuitive.
me.
You're not just an empath. I mean, oh my God.
But I didn't even know I was intuitive. That's how turned off it was. Like I had all these thoughts, all this stuff, but I didn't understand what any of it was. So I feel like part what's coming next is me teaching how to access that for people, because I know other people have it too and they just don't realize it, because we're trained, we're really like trained at a young age to turn it off. So, and that
I mean, I'm very careful with my kid is 9, about to be 10, and I encourage it all.
Good.
You know,
that's awesome.
She has this goddess that lives in her closet. She hasn't talked about in about a year, but for like 8 years, she had this friend, this goddess, who lived in her closet, who she could ask advice from.
Oh my gosh, how amazing.
And like I could ask. I like the one time I was like, can you ask your goddess like what I'm supposed to do with my life? And she's like, okay, hold on. And she was like,
that's so cool.
You're supposed to write a book. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Like, like she's not making it up. She doesn't even know what that means. Like you're supposed to write a book, you know?
Yeah.
So I really encourage that, but I agree with you. I think, you know, when we turn around 5, you know, whatever, but when I was little anyway, and they start sending you to school, they're like, don't be weird.
That's when it really changed for me, because I've always been like kind of spacey, but that was me channeling as a kid and just didn't know it.
Yep.
And I was always told, focus, focus, focus. Like I could have sworn, my mom doesn't remember this, but I have this memory, and maybe I just, who knows what's real anymore. But I have a memory. I have a memory.
What is real?
I know. I swear I have a memory of them like meeting with the teachers to like discuss like if I should be moving forward or not, because that's how much I was like not, I was in Brittany's world like the entire time. And people still to this day think I'm in like Brittany's world, so I do need to like consciously ground myself, but it's just because I'm channeling.
Tuned in. Actually,
Yeah, tuned in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So.
that's really cool. I would have loved to, like, you know, as a mom now, I see everything differently. But it's like, you know, my kid has other kids over and everything, and I'm always like, it's so interesting to see how some kids just like stare up into the ceiling, like, and they're talking to you, but they're just like totally, you know, not connecting. And then some kids are very like intent on connecting with you, and that's all they want to do, you know. It's like, it's really interesting. Yeah. And I just think we were lucky enough, my dad paid to send Lorraine to Montessori school for 3 years, and one of their mottos has always stuck with me, and I'm not sure if it was the best thing for her or not. It was great, but whatever. But one of the things they said was follow the child.
It's so true.
Like, yeah, it's like some kids, like, you know, don't force them to be like, oh, I hope my kid's intuitive, or, you know, or I hope my kid plays baseball even, or whatever. It's just like, whatever. Like, that's something that I think is like a big part of parenting now. And, you know, we're like, as adults, whether you have kids or not, it's like there's children in the world that you can like talk to about those things, but there's also yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about, as a 50-year-old woman, like, what do I want to do with these, you know, I feel like there's this big burst coming of, you know, like I can do one more big thing, and then I want to just like chill.
Yeah.
You know, but I
think you might have told that to me before, actually. I feel like you've said that to me.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like, I got one more big businessy entrepreneurial, and I'm just like that, you know, like I want to do one more big entrepreneurial thing.
Don't you have something coming up, or no?
I do. I'm actually like, I'm out with it tomorrow. So
there you go. We're both coming out with our new stuff. We were supposed to talk about the heart chakra, but here we are.
Well, this is all like heart chakra stuff, because like, like this thing that I'm going to do, it's all like, it's been all these years, and this culmination of everything else I've ever done. And this really comes from my heart, this thing that I'm going to announce tomorrow. And it's like, what I had to do was look back and talk to, you know, I mean, put it in whatever words makes you comfortable with, everybody. But like, you know, I had to sort of like look at that child and be like, you know, you go back to your own child. So whatever phase you're at in your life, if you're like, I'm not sure what to do, right? Go back and talk to the child version of you.
Yes. And that's usually your more playful version too. If you want to have more fun and joy, that's a good way to go about it.
But also like the version of you that it's like, what did that child need? You know, like at some point in your life, you have to ask, like, you know, what does that child need to feel loved, to feel like secure, to feel confident? Because that's all stuff that you get from being truly loved.
Right. I love that. You know? That's great.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. I don't think I said we just started talking right off the bat. It's dark in here.
Yes, I know. You and I just chit chat like crazy.
I know.
So Dhyana D'Amato, and D'Amato, speaking of love, is sort of the past tense of amore. Amore being the word for love, and amato is the past tense of that amato, and da, like D apostrophe, is of the loved. It's like of the beloved.
Look at that.
Yeah. So that's my that's my last name now, and that's my father's last name, I should say. My mother's last name was her name was Lorraine, who I named my daughter after, Lorraine Manlove, and
Oh,
the her last name is Manlove, which sometimes people like laugh at that name, but like I think it's so beautiful, and it's etched in like some of the things that I have of hers, and it apparently came from England. It was an English name, but you know, there was all this migration back then with like people coming into sort of like Mexico proper, and then across from Mexico to Baja, and then up from Baja into California. So her family was really indigenous
oh wow.
from, you know, just that sort of Baja Mexico, you know, that tail of
Mm-hmm.
California kind of thing. And there was no line before. Like now there's a
Oh,
line. This is California and this is Mexico, you know, and it's like, but yeah, but it was all kind of the same. Now at the same time, she had another parent coming in from also from Europe. So there were the Europeans that went to Mexico and then went to Baja, and then there were the Europeans that went to East Coast and down there, and those were the people that my grandfather. It's all kind of confusing to me, but so they all. My grandfather got together with my grandmother in California, but he came
uh,
from the East Coast, and he was a
mm.
slave. The
Oh
family
wow.
was Drake. Yeah. So really, now this word's not used anymore, but the word that was that described my real origins, I guess, was mulatto. And I haven't heard that since I was in high school. I don't think anyone uses that word anymore, but that's sort of what it was. So like my origins are very much like from America, you know, and Mexico, but like kind of this like native from Baja, you know, that indigenous kind of thing. And then my father was Italian. So yeah, I
Wow.
got, you know, a lot of, I think, really deep roots in terms of the spiritual realm,
Mm-hmm.
because you know these are all cultures that things, you know, in the material world may have been the way they were, but these people all relied on faith. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, you absolutely, you will always find a line of religion and faith throughout these things. So not that I was particularly signed on to any religion, but I mean, I just came through, and even as a child, like I'm very tuned in to emotion and people's psychology, and you know, feeling every single thing that you could possibly feel, which it didn't seem like there was a place for a long time until I found yoga. And then I found yoga, and
Mm-hmm.
yoga means to yoke, you know, to bring
Mm-hmm.
together. And that's like the same thing as like everything, as it's the same thing as, you know, amore, the past tense, and the future, you know, the
Oh,
present
I love
tense and
that.
the future tense of love all together at the same time. It's the same thing like, you know, man love, where it's like, yeah, you
Man.
know, you just, yeah, it's all, you know, it all kind of like in terms of ancestral healing, looking
Mm-hmm.
back on those things, it's like I came through at a time where generationally I was able to break a lot of the rules that had been put in place for my ancestors and move into this spiritual realm.
I
And
love
that's
that.
always been, you know, whatever I have been working on, it's always healing, you know, energy work, you know, yoga, meditation, Ayurveda. But like, you know, it's the point always is feeling, right? The point
Mm-hmm.
always is connecting. So it's always about like that heart chakra is what I feel is the fulcrum, not only of the chakra system, but of our whole life.
I agree. About the heart chakra, since we're on
Yeah.
that topic, are there any, well, maybe we should even back it up before I get into that, because I want to know what kind of yoga poses, because I know there's some that can help like open it up and like heal it. But I guess we should tell people in general that aren't familiar, like what the heart chakra really is. Because I know some of my people
Yeah.
have never even
So
probably heard of the
any
heart chakra.
chakra at all is a place where energy comes together. So a chakra is like, if you translate the word, it means wheel. So it's like something spinning. And you could take it literally like that. But if you go a little further, it's like a vortex of energy. Right. So it's in our bodies, it's places where you feel a lot of energy. So, you know, you've got your root chakra at the base of the spine, you've got your sacral chakra in the sexual organ area, you got your navel chakra in the navel area, you got the heart, the throat chakra, you've got the third eye chakra here, you got the top of the head, the crown chakra, and then the aura also. But along the way, anywhere that you feel like a gathering of energy, a lot of times like joints and everything, like there's you know, your happy chakras, I always call them, where your cheeks go up when you smile. There's happy chakras. So it's anywhere, it's a vortex of energy. And so now you see like the spinning thing making sense. Like it's not necessarily just like a wheel, but it's a vortex. Okay?
Yeah, I love
so
that.
it's where energy comes together. And then in your body, particularly physically, it's actually where we have a lot of nerve endings. That means that's where you can feel.
Oh, so you explain that better than I've ever heard. I even knew what the chakras were. I've known what the chakras are, I should say. But when you explained it, I was like, wow, I'm getting like a whole nother perspective of what a chakra. And so like since today's Valentine's Day, and some people may be feeling a little lonely, I would say that's probably an imbalanced heart chakra, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you know, and out of balance, any of your chakras can feel a little wonky. They can be, you know, more, you know, a little out of whack or like really out of whack, but it's really an organic system. Like they all kind of work together, right? So
when one's affected, others get affected too. A lot of times.
Absolutely. It's just like if you have neighbors that live next door to you, like if they're fighting all the time, that affects you if you hear them. You know?
As an empath, yes, you need to create a bubble.
Right, totally. Yeah, it's tough, or you just have to like protect yourself. Right, exactly. Like move away or create a bubble. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So the heart chakra, you know, I think like with Valentine's Day being today and everything, like people are thinking about their hearts, and you know, whether you're with somebody or not, it doesn't matter. Like you could be in a relationship and still have a broken heart. You could be not in a relationship and be completely fulfilled. Yeah. You know, and this is the aisle that Hallmark skips.
That's so true.
Right? They'll make an aisle for like
I love
you
that.
know, the other option. It's like you just on this one day have to fit into this red or pink box, and I know. You know,
I did wear my pink though for Valentine's Day, I'm not gonna lie, but that's about as exciting as it got.
So cute.
What's your dog's name?
Yeah, so here's the thing, at least in the yogic chakra system, the color for the heart chakra is green. So I wore my green.
I love that. It's so true.
And I like purposely sat in front of these plants here in our sunroom because the color in the chakra system for the heart is green, and it's like a vibrant, healthy thing. Right? So it's not saying like, oh, red and love and, you know, whatever, pink and whatever. It's more like it's
red is actually the root, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Yes. And it's like, you know, the leaves growing out and, you know, all the lusciousness kind of
like life, juicy,
the vitality.
I love that.
Yeah. So, you know, there's definitely like room for the red and pink and, you know, all, and honestly, like, who knows, like you could see purple here and that works for you, you know, in terms of the heart chakra. There's maybe like a resonance with the vibration of the color for these certain areas, but there's certainly no wrong answer. Like
that's so true. Like I know
if you
the
meditate
jewelry
on the heart chakra and feel silver, like go for it.
Go for it. Yeah. That's so true. And I know some people may know this, some people don't, but with the jewelry I have, I will literally intuitively activate it. So say this rose quartz is often considered like the heart healer stone. And
Yes.
so you might think that I'm going to automatically activate this with the purpose of activating your heart chakra, but I'll actually tune in. And sometimes I get different stuff, and it's not always for the heart, but I just have to go with whatever intuitively comes up. But, you know, I had
Wait,
one the
was
other
that
day.
necklace or was
This
that?
isn't, this one's the necklace, but it comes with earrings and a ring. I'm wearing the ring. This is a really pretty ring.
Oh, I'm getting some kisses from my Valentine.
Oh, yes, there you go. See, that's what love's about.
Yeah,
I love that.
just like a yeah, the rose quartz, I feel like when I think about rose quartz, I definitely I recycled that. I put that in the recycling bin. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, we won't be on much. We won't have to stay on much longer. I know we've been on for like 30 minutes.
We're fine. But I think of rose quartz like when I think of my best girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
It feels really good about that, and like new love.
It's kind of got like this feminine, like I feel like soft vibe to it. But speaking of necklaces, so since I just want to not take up too much time, I know people have stuff going on Valentine's Day, so I was gonna do a little giveaway. So if anyone is feeling called for the Akashic Records, I have a coupon code where you can get a discount. It's going to be FIRST11, so FIRST, and then 11. Use that coupon code, and the first person that schedules a Akashic Record reading will get this emerald, which is talking about the green necklace.
Oh my goodness!
I haven't posted this one yet. It's an exclusive.
I know. It's an exclusive?
Yes, I haven't posted it on my website, so first person will get this. And if you're feeling like you need some heart healing, I can definitely intuit that in the records, and we can heal the heart chakra through the records.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Open my card. Go ahead. Yeah, when you sent me that cuff, the I Am Powerful.
Oh yeah,
oh my God, I love it so much. It makes me feel like Wonder Woman.
Now I always picture it like this. But it is so cute on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And stainless steel, so it does not tarnish, like literally, but you can also bend it so it fits your wrist a little bit better.
Which I love because I have very small wrists, so I have to put it on and squeeze it. Because
I have to do it too.
I love bracelets, but I don't wear a lot of them because they just kind of clank around and fall off. But I like these kind of bracers that I can squeeze on there. Yeah, and the thing was though, like I got the bracelet and I wear it all the time, but it was the activation and the writing that you sent me.
And wasn't that fun? Like makes it feel so much more special when you wear it because you're like, oh, there's something to this.
Absolutely. And it was really meaningful, and you know me now personally, so it's like for like what you wrote was so spot on, and it was really what I needed to hear. And every time I wear that special piece of jewelry, I feel activated again, and that's the thing. It's like we all have jewelry. We all have like a ton of earrings. We all have, necklaces and toe rings and whatever. But like at some point, I feel like I decided like I'm not just going to wear things that don't mean anything to me anymore. So,
that's how I am. That's why I created this jewelry brand, because I literally was like, I'm buying because I was like, I'm only buying stuff that like is meaningful, but yet a lot of the crystal jewelry, for some reason, I couldn't find anything I liked. And when I did find something I liked, it was like $250. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend $250, but can I find something like in the middle? So that's why I created this.
How do you make it? Like, what's your process?
It depends on what it is. So either I'll design it and send it to someone to manufacture and make, or I will put pieces together. It just depends on what I have. I'm not going to do anything too complex for my stuff, like me putting it together.
Wait a second. You have goddess necklaces.
What'd you say? Oh, the goddess. I did bring it because I knew you were going to ask. Yeah, so I designed this.
I love
This one's the best selling actually. It's Goddess Isis, and she is
Oh.
the like protector of women, and she's also like the goddess of magic. So I have a lot of fun with her.
Oh yeah, that's your girl. That's your
Yeah, I think she's like the queen of
archetype.
queens, honestly.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
that is you. That is you. I mean, I have just enjoyed meeting you so
you
much, and
too.
like
You too.
I love everything that you do, and I'm like so excited to watch everything else that you
Oh, you're
open
so nice.
up through the akashic records with people, through you know, and like real estate. It's really interesting that you're a real estate agent, because it is one of the most stressful times for people, which means they're really emotional, which means they're really open,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
It
like
is a roller
how
coaster.
yeah. So how wonderful and interesting to be with somebody who's like, you know, tuned in. I mean, it's very interesting that that is what you do. And I mean, I just think it's so supportive, you know, for that
Yeah.
process, to have somebody who's not just like, oh, I mean, it's all about the commission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've just
Like,
never been
obviously,
wired that way. And some people, it might have benefited me some days and maybe not the others, but I'm just like, I'm
sure.
in here for the long haul, not the quick game. A lot of people
Yeah.
are not so much that way in real estate, but you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, it's
It's
amazing.
interesting though, because you do go through this very stressful process with people. And at the end, it's like, okay, now we're done. Like, are we going to be pen pals now? Like, it's so weird because you talk to them like every day throughout the transaction or even months ahead of time. If you're working with buyers, it might take them a minute till they find something they like. So you could be working with them for a year and then all of a sudden you're done and you're like, wait a minute,
I
let's keep
know,
this
that must be
going.
so weird.
It
You feel
is
so
kind of weird.
close to them.
You do
But
because you,
yeah. Oh
and then
my
you're like, okay,
goodness.
bye. But
Yeah. It's like that a lot with, I've trained yoga teachers for like 20 years now. And you go through this very intensive training, you know, giving them all the tools and like, you know, propping them up and giving, you know, like the special attention and the this and that, you know, going through the like the lows and bringing them back up to the highs. And then like they'll graduate and kind of start teaching and like maybe move to another city or country. And then 2 years later, I'll see them on social media and be like, oh my God, like that person opened a yoga studio.
yeah, exactly.
Like
Yep.
we were talking every day and like really in it
Yeah.
together. And yeah, so
Yeah.
you know,
A lot of times I'll
I think
follow them on like social media just to keep tabs, but
yeah. But I
yeah.
think like the work that we do as healers and supporters and light workers, a lot of it is that non-attachment where you're almost like a bus driver, you know?
Oh yeah, no,
And
that
like,
I
right?
couldn't be too attached because if I was on the same roller coaster ride that they were on, that would be too messy for everyone. So I always had to
Uh-huh.
stay very neutral and supportive the entire time and be careful not to
Yeah.
go through the swings with them, you know what
Totally.
I
It's like,
mean?
let me help you get where you need to go. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, it's like, but like, you know, again, having jewelry and like, I have a lot of things that I use, like having plants around for me has been very healing for the heart chakra. And I think a lot of people during COVID have gotten more and more into their plants. And I mean,
Hmm.
I have it's like, in Clue, they call it a conservatory. This is just the room in our house that gets the most sun.
Oh, I love
And
that.
it's like there's so many luscious plants here, and I repot them, and you know, I break pieces off and like, you know, root them, make another plant. I have all these baby plants now that I've made out of the mama plants. And
Hmm.
this is like, for any advice that I have to give as, you know, as me, in terms of the heart chakra,
Yeah.
it's not about like, did you go to dinner somewhere fancy tonight? It's about those little things, like the things you do to change your environment. You know, that's the
Mm.
magic of like the heart chakra has like a feminine side to it, you know, and
It's
it's like those are the
receiving.
things, yes,
You
those
are to
are the things
receive.
we do though to like to I want to say like alter our environment, you know, and it's
Hmm.
like to make it a more loving environment, like to have the plant candles, same thing, like
Mm.
lighting, you know, lighting candles, having the nice scents around, and like, you know, things like that are actually very activating for the heart chakra.
I love
Um,
that.
Yeah. So,
I find that like gratitude really helps. And like me receiving, like I like to give gratitude, but also receive. So when you were like talking about the bracelets, I'm like, oh, I feel my heart chakra activating
oh,
as you're
that's
like
so
complimenting me. So like I think people just need to be aware of that, like where they might be feeling resistance when someone's like giving them a compliment,
wow.
because that's
Yeah.
where we're blocking ourselves from really like feeling the joy and the love.
Oh my God. And I just saw something on this gym where I teach at in Yardley, Pennsylvania. It's called the Gristmill Fitness. This woman like wrote something about how like, oh, this French woman said something about my hair. And I was like, oh, a French woman, this is another person saying this, oh, a French woman complimented my hair and it felt so good. And then somebody else wrote, I really think as I get older, and it's like as we get wiser, I make an effort to compliment other
Mm-hmm.
women, she wrote, but complimenting people, it opens your heart chakra. It's like, oh, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't need to be like on ecstasy to tell somebody you like their hair, or like, you think
Yeah.
this wonderful thing about them. Like, how about that's what it is? It's like, we're nervous to say like this or that, like we're self-conscious maybe to like
Mm-hmm.
just go up to a stranger and be like, I love your hair, or whatever it is. And it's like, but
Yeah.
that's that
And
being
then
open.
yes, and then on the other side, receiving that without being like putting it away, because I say if like we're open to receiving that, then we're open to receiving like the manifestations as well that we want to call in. So I'm always aware, but I'm like pushing someone's compliment away because I'm like, oh no, I want to be open to
Right.
receive.
Exactly. Like exactly. So
From
in
like a
addition to
heart
that
space.
gratitude, we say thank you.
Yeah, we
Right?
say thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the
So, well,
niceness.
thank you so much, Brittany. Thank you for being my friend and seeing the good in
Yes.
me, and for
Course.
my wonderful research
I'm so
and
excited
all
to hear your
stuff that you
announcement.
do. Now, do you have any other last activated pieces you want to show us before? Because
Oh
I mean, I love
no. No, it's good. I just
those
want
are
to
the
remind
ones.
people this is an exclusive.
Yeah. So
So
get on that. So it's _modern magic_,
yes,
right? Or
or
your
you
Instagram.
could. That's my Instagram, and then my website is www.mymodernmagic.com, and you can find the Akashic Records schedule there.
Awesome. And
You
my
give them
Instagram
your
is
info.
Dhyana D'Amato, like DIANADAMATO yoga. And I'm around. You can find, I'm easy to find, and I'm happy to talk to anybody about yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, teacher trainings. And tomorrow, of course, I'll let the cat out of the bag about this incredible program. I'm so excited to
Yay!
watch the personal and professional combination course that I just can't wait to host. So thank you so much for inviting me in here and for taking care of the technology.
It's all good. We got to figure it out. We'll do it again sometime.
For sure. Yes. I look forward to it. I love you.
Love you too. Mwah. Congratulations.